Today I'm standing in Europe's last breakaway Soviet Republic. This is the Pridnestrovian Moldavian Republic, also known as Transnistria. This is a self-declared independent republic, not recognised by any single UN member state, not even Russia, despite them having troops stationed here as peacekeepers. Over the next few days, we're going to explore what it's like to live in a country that isn't recognised. Obviously, I had to start this video in front of the massive statue of Lenin, which is also in front of the House of Soviets, which is like the city hall here, where the local government meets. And the Soviets are so important to this story. But first, we're going to explore a little bit and see what it's like around Tiraspol. The first thing I need to do is go and change from Moldovan lei, or leu, I don't know how you pronounce it, because here in Transnistria they have their own currency, the ruble. Now you can exchange your money in any sheriff supermarket apparently, and then there's other places like banks and other exchange places. We're gonna go to a supermarket and exchange it there, and then once I've done that, we're gonna go and get some food, and we're gonna go to a USSR inspired restaurant called the USSR Canteen, I think, to see what it was like to maybe go to like restaurants or to eat during the USSR. So I think I'm here. It's not in English, so I don't actually know what it is, but there's like a Lenin coat of arms and a woman serving food. It looks like it goes underground, so this should be quite interesting. Let's go inside. Potatoes, please. Are these vegetables? Vegetables as well, please. So I've ordered my food. You get it like a canteen style. You go with a tray and they put plates on the tray. I've got rice, potatoes, vegetables, and I think lentils maybe. The one thing that's annoyed me is I bought this thinking it was water, and it's fizzy water. I hate fizzy water. It looks like this place was built inside a bunker or something because of the shape of all the rooms. They're like domes, so it looks very bunker-esque. Parts of Transnistria look like a Soviet time capsule. You've got this place, which I don't know if this existed back then. I'll Google it and I'll let you know. But then also like some of the cars that they drive here are still quite old, like from that time period, maybe like the 70s or 80s. Everywhere you walk you can kind of see the Soviet influence that exists here in Transnistria still. Like behind me there's a plaque with the hammer and sickle, but the hammer and sickle is on the official flag of Transnistria. It's a red and green flag with a small hammer and sickle in the corner. It's over there. I'll go and show you. So it's flying up there, but it's not windy enough to actually blow it out. You can sort of see the hammer and sickle in the corner, but not really. And right next to it, flying higher, I believe, you see the Russian flag. The Russian flag isn't up there, I don't think, because of its links with the Soviet Union. But the Russian flag takes us back to the beginning of this region, although the Soviet Union is very important for Transnistria and where Transnistria got its independent identity. Russia is where the story actually begins. That's because behind me you'll see the statue of the Russian general Alexander Suvorov, who in 1792 founded the city of Tiraspol, which is the capital city of the Transnistria region, when Transnistria was part of the Russian Empire after Russia annexed it from the Ottomans. So this is where Tiraspol first started. It's where Transnistria really first began, as Tiraspol is the capital of this region. So then the Russian Empire had control of both Transnistria and Moldova, which at the time was called Bessarabia. That was until the Russian Civil War, when Bessarabia decided to merge with Romania, but that didn't include Transnistria because they were both two separate regions. And during the era of the USSR, Transnistria fell under Ukraine Socialist Soviet Republic, but it was given some basic autonomy. It became an autonomous socialist Soviet republic, which is like the tier below the socialist Soviet republics. The SSRs, as they're known, were able to become independent if they wanted to. So Ukraine had the ability, if it wanted to become independent and leave the Union, whereas Transnistria didn't, because it was just an autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic. But then World War II happened, and during World War II, the USSR pressured Romania into giving it Moldova, which it eventually did. And this is the important part. Transnistria was then transferred from Ukraine to Moldova and became part of that. At the same time, that made it lose its autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic status. This now brings us to the independence claim, because in 1990 the USSR looked like it was gonna collapse. So Moldova was considering rejoining Romania. However, Transnistria didn't want this because it was a majority Russian speaking population and they wanted to remain in the Union. So they declared themselves a full-fledged republic, a Soviet Socialist Republic. But then a year later, in 1991, just a few months before the USSR actually disbanded, Transnistria claimed independence once again, but this time as an independent state, not part of the Union. And they'd done so 2 days before Moldova claimed independence, which means Transnistria has a claim to have never been part of an independent Moldova, as they claimed independence prior to Moldova doing so. This led to a war breaking out in 1992 between Transnistria and Moldova, where around 1,000 people died between both sides. Transnistria was backed by Russia, and I think Moldova was backed by Romania. But Moldova quickly realised that they couldn't win the war, as Transnistria had the backing of the Russian forces. So Transnistria gained control of this region and became a de facto state. So here in Transnistria, they do have their own currency. It's the ruble, and they have notes. I don't know how high they go up to, but I've got like 200 notes, and the lowest I've got is a 1. The 1 is the lowest ruble you can get. I imagine it goes higher than 200, I'm not too sure. And then you can get coins, and the coins are metal, which really disappointed me, because I was so excited to come here because I collect money, because I know in the past they had plastic coins, but apparently they got stopped around 2023 because people like me kept taking them out of the country because they collect them, and they were just losing money. Luckily you can still actually get them, but they're more like collector's items now. If you go to a bank, you can actually buy them. They cost maybe about £5, £6, and you can get the collection of 4. So you've got the plastic one. It's not called a ruble. It's, I don't know what it's called, but it's called something else. So you've got the 3, which is a bit weird to go 1, 3, and then 5, and then you've got the 10. I just want to interrupt really quickly because I'm actually going to give away 3 full sets of these plastic coins. They're the only real plastic coin money in the entire world. No other country has plastic coins, and it includes the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 10 ruble. You can still spend these today in the Pridnestrovie. So if you want to win them, just like the video and comment below, and I'll pick 3 winners at random and I'll message you that you've won. It's the next day. Yesterday I went back to hostel, had a nap, and then it was raining when I woke up, so I just stayed in for the rest of the evening. This heat doesn't half kill you off. Anyway, today, now that we've already covered the history of Transnistria yesterday, we're going to just walk around more of the city and see what we can find whilst walking around, see what it's like today. And also later on, we're going to be meeting up with a local content creator who's going to show us around more of the city, hopefully show us some places that I probably wouldn't know about without someone local. For the rest of this video, I'm going to be calling the country Pridnestrovie because Oleg, the person I'm meeting up with later, has just informed me that it's actually illegal to say Transnistria in Pridnestrovie because they banned it. I don't know when, but they banned calling the country Transnistria. Anyway, I'm currently walking down 25th of October Street, which is the main street here in Tiraspol. It's where you're going to find all your famous monuments and buildings and all like the popular shops and stuff like that. We're just gonna walk down until we get to the House of Soviets, which is not where we were yesterday. I got that wrong. I'll explain when I get there. Along this road you've got like a mix of like modern buildings and then the old Soviet apartment blocks. Across the road you can see shops like Adidas and Levi's, which are obviously Western shops. So today in modern Pridnestrovie you do have that Soviet heritage and a lot of that Soviet like history and vibe, but the economy has transformed massively. So this behind me is actually the House of Soviets. You can kind of see my confusion. There's a Lenin statue outside it, and when I read online, I read that the House of Soviets had a Lenin statue outside. The big building we were at yesterday was the Supreme Council building that also has a Lenin statue outside, which is a bit bigger than this though. Anyway, so this holds the local city council, the Council of Tiraspol, whereas the Supreme Council building holds the Supreme Council as well as the Prime Minister. But the President doesn't sit there, he sits in a separate building. Look how cool this is. There's a giant poster of Yuri Gagarin on the wall, which he was the first guy to ever go into space. Is he from here? I don't know. I always thought he was from Georgia. And I assume that they're just putting this up because obviously first guy in space, done by the USSR. You know, very famous guy, very famous Soviet. It makes sense to celebrate him in every part of the USSR. But maybe he's actually from Tiraspol or from Pridnestrovie. I'll have to Google it. There's no signal here, so I can't Google it right now until I get back to the hotel, because here in Pridnestrovie you have to get a separate SIM card to Moldova because they have their own cell network, and I haven't bought one because I'm still getting patchy bits of internet from Moldova every now and then also my hostel Wi-Fi works well enough. There's also a statue of Yuri just around the corner from this poster, but this is really cool. I think this is the Pridnestrovie State University, which I assume, keeping in Soviet tradition, is universal and free for all students. But I have absolutely no idea how the country's run that side of things. But when we meet up with Oleg later, I'm going to ask him all of these questions to find out how Pridnestrovia is run today. One of the things that you notice very quickly when you come to Pridnestrovie is the fact that it's still got loads of old Soviet cars. Well, obviously that's an Aldi, but I mean like Soviet era cars like this. I think it's probably from the 70s or 80s, and they're all over the place. Obviously most of the cars here are newer than that. Like they have modern cars, electric cars, and then everything in between. But compared to like your average place, there's more 70s, 80s cars here than probably anywhere else in Europe. Ride in Kamekuta, the most beautiful. Kamekuta?
Каменка, там очень
Кам-
красиво.
Ah,
Парк.
да.
Да, там
Ah,
памятник Ленина стоит. И фонтан очень красивый. Парк основатель. И потом санаторий Днестр. Там вот красота.
да.
Да.
Спасибо.
Очень красиво. Я тебе честно говорю, материала там смотришь. А если выйдешь на гору выйдешь.
На гору?
Да. И вот так вот ты можешь снять река Днестр.
Mountains. Ah,
Вот.
да. Thank
Там
you.
очень красиво.
Спасибо.
Давай.
Спасибо.
Удачи тебе.
That was quite funny. Just bumped into an old man and he started speaking to me. Obviously, I don't speak any Russian, so I translated on my phone, and then he wanted to speak to me phone, but I don't have any data, so I can only type because I've saved Russian, but I haven't. Like, you can't use the speech when there's no internet. So he typed out that I should go to Kamekuta, which I don't know what that is, but then because I said Kamekuta and then I said da, which is yes, he started just speaking in Russian, and I assume it's like outside Tiraspol. I assume it's like in the countryside, because I said like mountains and stuff, and he said that. So Well, we don't have time this trip to go, but it was quite cool getting recommended it. One of the really nice things about Pridnestrovie that I've noticed is just how green it is. Like every single street has trees lining both sides of the roads. I mean, this has trees both sides of the path, which is quite cool. And every couple of blocks there's a park, like a massive park, where they'll have like play areas for kids, and they'll have like statues and just places where you can go and just relax or take the dog for a walk. It's just really nice rather than being stuck inside of like just a concrete jungle. There's another famous Soviet style restaurant here called Back in the USSR, which is this restaurant right here. We're gonna go inside and get something to eat. I have a picture of Stalin there, picture of Lenin. I think that's Karl Marx. That's definitely Karl Marx with the white hair and white beard. I think that's a younger Karl Marx. If it's not, it might be Friedrich Engels, who also co-wrote the Communist Manifesto. Back in the USSR is more touristy than the USSR canteen. It's set up like a standard restaurant, just full of USSR memorabilia, serving local food out of a red menu, which is actually really on brand for a Soviet theme. But this site was actually used as a real Soviet canteen during the USSR. I didn't know what to get, so I asked the waitress and she recommended all the vegan options that they had, which was quite a lot to be honest, more than anywhere else I'd been. And she recommended the garlic potatoes and some dumplings, so I got the sauerkraut dumplings because I've never had sauerkraut. One of the things that's quite cool about this place is when you're done you get your bill. You get it in a Russian doll, and they also give you like a little postcard with a thank you on it. So I've met up with Oleg. He has a YouTube channel called Oleg Walks, where he walks around different parts of Moldova. If you want to see more of Moldova, make sure you subscribe to Oleg. He also has Instagram. Me and Oleg are gonna walk around Tiraspol for a little bit, and hopefully we're gonna learn a little bit more. Oleg has brought me to a little mini town display in one of the parks. Is this Tiraspol?
Yes.
Mini Tiraspol. It's quite cool. And this church, what is it?
It's like a church.
Do you know the name?
I don't know.
Oh, Church of the Holy Apostle.
Yes.
What's that? What's that church there?
It's a main cathedral.
The main cathedral.
Yes.
I want to ask you some questions, Oleg, about your life here in Tiraspol and Pridnestrovie. So, first, I just want to know why it's illegal to say Transnistria, because you were telling me over WhatsApp that you have to call it Pridnestrovie and you can't say Transnistria. But why? What does Transnistria mean?
This is the title which invented of Nazis, which who occupied this territory in Great Patriotic War in 1941.
Ah, okay. So Transnistria was what the Nazis named
Yes,
this part,
yes,
this country.
Exactly.
I didn't know that. That's really mad, and that's why it's illegal to call it that, and you have to call it Pridnestrovie.
Only Pridnestrovie.
Oh, Pridnestrovia. What's it like living in Pridnestrovie, in terms of you not being a recognised country? What's it like? How does it make it hard to travel?
It's somebody who have Moldova passport, it can easy travel.
So you have Moldova passport?
Yes.
Do you also have a Russian passport?
Yes.
And you also have a Pridnestrovie passport?
Yes.
Not only do they have their own money here, but they also have their own passport. Can I see the front cover? Can I see the very front? So this is a Pridnestrovie passport, And Oleg, you were saying, Oleg, that it doesn't expire. It lasts forever.
Yes.
That's insane that the passport lasts forever. My passport lasts for 10 years and then I have to pay every 10 years to get a new one. But that will last forever. And are there any countries that you can travel to with that?
Only in Moldova.
Only Moldova. So when you travel, do you travel using your Russian passport or your Moldovan passport?
If EU countries, of course, Moldova.
Although, because it's easier. And then, are there any countries that it's better to use the Russian passport?
South American countries, Russian passport.
Really? Do you get free entry?
Yes.
Ah, okay. But not with Moldova?
No.
Interesting. Under the Soviet Union, education and healthcare was free. Is education and healthcare still free in Pridnestrovie?
Half and half.
Half and half. So,
Like in Moldova.
so what parts do you pay for and what parts are free?
For poor families.
Ah, okay. So if you can't afford education or healthcare, it's free.
Yes.
But if you can, you have to pay.
Yes. Exactly.
Ah, okay. I think finally, I'll finish off by asking you a bit about what you want for the history of Pridnestrovie. So, do you want independence? Or do you want to join Moldova? Or do you want to join Russia?
I even don't know.
You don't know? What do you think the general population want?
General population, maybe for last time population would be joined to Moldova by opportunity, by such a opportunity.
So you think the general population wants to join Moldova, not Russia?
Yes.
Ah, but I think 20 years ago it was Russia, right?
No, not Russia. It
No.
was a referendum for joining to Russia, but Russia didn't, didn't join, didn't attach this region to Russia.
So you think now most people want to join Moldova instead?
50 on 50,
50-50?
50 to Moldova, 50 on Russia.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. Well, that's quite interesting information to learn about Tiraspol and Pridnestrovie. Thank you, Oleg.
Yes.
And make sure you go and check out his channel and Instagram. Oleg has brought me down to the river, like the main spot in the summer for people in Tiraspol. And look at this. There's a beach. They've got a river beach, like actual sand. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a river with a beach before. Like, this might be the first time I've ever seen it, which is quite cool. We got people swimming in there. I don't know how clean it is or how deep it is, but the locals seem to enjoy it. So Oleg has gone home. It was quite insightful getting to speak to him, getting to talk about Pridnestrovia and about how it is growing up here and like what society's like, how it's run. It was very, very interesting. Right now though, I'm gonna go to the supermarket because I want to show you the supermarket. It's quite unique and quite interesting. Behind me is the sheriff's supermarket, and yeah, it is the same sheriff as the football team. That's because they're owned by the same man. He's a billionaire who owns like the majority of stuff here in Pridnestrovie. He owns petrol stations. I think they're the only petrol stations in the entire country. He owns the supermarkets, the football team. He owns a mobile network, and I think he owns a few other things. In there you can also change money. He doesn't own banks, but maybe he owns exchange services, because you can't exchange money in there because you can't use cards. Our cards won't work there. They have their own card system here, so you have to change money. And the ironic thing is that people long for the Soviet Union here, but instead of the state owning most of the stuff, just one single man owns most of the economy here in Pridnestrovie. Anyway, I'm gonna head back to the hostel for the night because the sun's going down, and I'll see you in the morning. Today is my final day here in Pridnestrovie, and it's a Friday. We're currently facing a heat wave across Europe, so We're going to do something fun today and show that there are lots of fun things to do here in Pridnestrovie. For some reason, you have to climb over the fence, like there's bars across where the stairs are, but people are on the beach, so I assume it's okay to just climb over. It's nowhere near as busy as I thought it would be. Like, there's only a couple of people here, but maybe that's because it's only like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and people are working. I just assume with it being a Friday, there'd be loads of people, and a heat wave, there'd be loads of people taking days off. This is a very relaxing way to spending your last day in Pridnestrovie, and I'm not gonna lie, before coming here I didn't expect that I'd be lying on a beach eating some strawberries and cherries by a river at all, at any point, not even just on the last day. I just didn't expect that this would be something I'd be doing. I didn't know, I knew they had a river, but I didn't know they had a beach. Right, we're gonna go and get in the water. Wait, it's fucking freezing. It's not that bad actually, to be fair. I mean, it doesn't look the cleanest. Can't even really see my feet. But it's not rocky or anything. It's not like muddy. It's still sand right now. Like, now that I'm in the water, it's still sand. It's getting a little bit like squidgy. A bit stony. It's not that bad. And it's not that cold either. I'm gonna dip down. I'm gonna go back towards the sand now. Oh, it's quite nice actually. Very refreshing. Oh, I can sit down. Sit down neck deep. It's not bad this at all. And all the way down there, under the bridge, you've got boats. They do like, I guess like a boat tour or boat party or something along this river. I don't know when it is, I assume it's in the evenings. Or maybe it's just the weekends. Right, I'm done with the beach now. I was there for like an hour and I'm just getting baked in this sun. I really don't want to get sunburnt. So we're gonna head back to the hostel. So there's two things I want to talk about. I got back to the hostel, I got changed, and instead of going for food, I started talking to the woman that works here. Her name is Anastasia, and she's 60 years old, so she lived through the USSR. And of course, I had to take the opportunity to ask her loads of questions about what it was like growing up then. Unfortunately, she didn't want to be recorded at all. She was happy to answer all my questions, she just didn't want me to record any of it. She wouldn't even get a picture with me. But she was really enjoying reminiscing on like teenage years and early adult years growing up there, where she went to university in Russia, and after university she got a house and she started having a family. She got married, and just, you could see it meant a lot to her. And overall, she said that life was easier back then. But I don't want to talk too much more about it, just because, well, she's not here, and I think when you're sharing people's stories, it's better to actually have them tell the stories. That brings us on to the second part, which is what the future holds for Pridnestrovia. I've been saying it wrong, by the way. I think it's Pridnestrovia, even though it's spelled Pridnestrovie. I think with the Russian pronunciation, it's ear at the end. Anyway, if I was asking this question 20 years ago, 97% of the public here supported joining Russia. Fast forward 10 years, 2016, and that number dropped to 86%. And then fast forward again to 2021 during the Moldovan elections, because the people of Pridnestrovia can vote in them. Around 15% of people here voted for pro-EU parties. Now, fast forward to 2024, there was a EU referendum in Moldova which included the people of Pridnestrovia, and around 37% voted in favour of joining the EU. So you can see this trend from 20 years ago, where there was a high volume of people who supported joining Russia, and how over the past 20 years that number has started to drop. Now in 2025, free Russian gas that used to get exported to Pridnestrovia stopped due to the conflict in Ukraine. And that same year there was another election, and in that election around 40% of the people of Pridnestrovia voted for pro-EU countries, which again shows a growing trend of people starting to favour joining the EU. And that brings us to this year, the start of 2026. There was an online poll done for the people of Pridnestrovia, where just over 50% of the people asked said that they would be in favour of reunification with Moldova. So if the current trend is anything to go by, and I assume it's probably because of the younger generation coming through and being able to vote, Pridnestrovia might actually be closer to reunifying with Moldova or joining the EU than it is to becoming independent or joining Russia. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it as interesting as I have, getting to walk through a bit of a time capsule of the Soviet Union. Make sure, if you did like the video, you smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already, comment below to be in with a chance to win these plastic coins. And as always, keep exploring.